Number 52, do you know who that is? Shirley Hankton. Number 53, Telly Hankton. Number 54, Squirt, Thomas Hankton. Okay. 55, Troy Hankton. 58, Daryl Smothers, Dump. 59, Terrell Smothers. Okay, if I can show you 239. Oh, Pluck, Brian Broussard, yeah. 240, Rodney Robinson, Doodle. 242, Darnell, D. Thank you. All those people I just showed you, did you know them from growing up? Yeah, we grew up in the same neighborhood. I showed you several pictures of the Hanktons. Did you know them well growing up? Yeah, we interrelated, like Thomas Hankton and my cousin had a baby for him. My cousin got 2 kids with Dump, Derek Smothers. Like, some of the Hanktons have kids from my uncles. One of them, like my little niece, she kin to the Hanktons too. A Hankton had a baby from my brother. Okay, so we close to kin, cousins, or whatever you want to call it, in-laws. Okay, and you personally knew them growing up? Yeah, my grandma raised up next to their grandma, Bernice Hankton, on Jackson and Dryades. Then I stayed on Josephine. We all stayed in the same areas and stuff like that. Okay, your grandmother was who? My grandmother? Dorothy Tabor. I'm sorry, what was her name? Her name Dorothy. They call her Miss Dorothy. She lived where? On Jackson and Dryades Street. When she lived on Jackson and Dryades, who lived next to her? Miss Bernice Hankton. That's the Hankton's grandma. So, I guess, back a little bit to talking about George. When you got out of juvenile, was George trying to help you get on your feet? Yeah, he brought me he gave me some money to go buy some clothes and shoes because I ain't had none when I just got out of jail, and asked me what I wanted to do when I got out or whatever, get money, go back to stealing cars, just a bunch of crazy young stuff or whatever. And I told him I was going to chill or whatever. So he gave me some drugs and look, man, this is what you need to do. What kind of drugs did he give you? He gave me some crack cocaine. How much did he give you? 2 1/4, 2 ounces and 1/4 of crack. Okay, you're talking about ounces, you said? Yeah, 2 ounces and 1/4 of crack. They call it 2 1/4. Did you know what to do with it? Well, George explained to me how to weigh it and stuff. He was telling me how to get a scale, weigh it. 0.2 would go for $10, 0.4 would go for $20, and 3 grams go for an 8-ball or whatever. So if you just break it down, he was telling me I could make at least $3,000. But if you want to sell it fast or whatever, you just sell 0.4, 8 balls and stuff like that. Did you do that? Yes. Did you go out and get a scale for yourself? No. He had told me. He brought me to a store called Jimmy's on Desire in Galvez. You go there and they sell cut for drugs and scales and bags and all these things like that. Can you explain what cut is? Oh, cut is a substance you put on a cocaine or whatever. Something like baking soda. Another thing called quinine. You put on a cocaine and scratch it or whatever so it don't mess with the user's health or whatever. They can just smoke it and... Okay, so to help. Is that to help turn it into crack? Yeah, turn it into crack and scratch your drugs or whatever. Alright. And you end up making more money if you add... Yeah, if you stretch them, you make more money and you break out down in bags and stuff like that. So, were you able to sell that 2 1/4 ounces of crack that George gave you? Yeah, when I sold it, I brought him. He told me, I came back to him. The whole thing was when he gave it to me, he wanted me to score drugs from him, only him, because, he the only one that helped me out when I get out. He man, don't worry about the rest of these niggas. You know what I'm saying? He said, I'm your big brother now. Just chill, and we gonna get this money or whatever and just hang with me. So, did you continue to sell drugs? Yes, ma'am. Did you continue to get it through George? Yes. How often were you... Well, first of all, the 2 1/4. How much did you end up selling that for about? Well, after breaking it all down, give or take, you might make $2,300, $2,500. So after I take that, I'll go back to him with the $2,100, keep some for myself, So you made a couple $100 off of it? Yeah, for myself. And I went at him with the $2,100. Then whatever I buy from there, he front me. So now it's like with the ball rolling out when you are in a position to get your own. So I got a quarter key from him. Can you explain what fronting means? Front mean like when you have half of the money already, then the other half of the money is given to you like a loan and you got to pay it back. So whenever you pay the money you owe back, then you always like good for credit to get more drugs from him for free or whatever. So you give some money for the drugs, but you also still owe some money? Owe money, like you in debt for like $2,500, whatever he'll give you. Okay, so they'll give you the drugs even though you haven't given the full payment for the drugs. Full payment, yes. All right. Then after you sell the drugs, you give them that money? Yeah, you give them the money you owe them, you know. And sometimes they want you to come back with more money to keep you going or whatever. Right. And so how often were you selling drugs? Every day. Okay. You know, every day you out there selling drugs or whatever. So every time I finish, I go re-up and keep bringing him money. And you just keep going. And so they will tell you the bigger they get, the bigger you get. So you just get money. Were you always getting 2 1/4 of crack from George? Well, I always pay for the 2 1/4. The 4 1/2, that's the 21, right? That go for a 4 1/2. Okay, so if I can try to understand that, so you pay for 2 1/4, and would you get an additional 2 1/4? I was getting a 4 1/2 and got an additional 4 1/2 with him. Okay, yeah, so it's a quarter key. Okay, how long did it take you to get to the point where you were getting a 1/4 kilo of crack from George? How long did it take? Yeah, from when you got out of juvie. Oh, about 3 days. 2 days, 3 days. The neighborhood, they got people riding around, walking around all day looking for drugs. I'm saying, so you're making the money constantly by the hours, all day, every day. So were there lots of customers in that area? Yeah, they pulling up on bikes, they walking, they coming in cars, they coming from everywhere, every day. Does it happen all day long? Every day, all night, people coming looking for drugs. You have some people selling weed, heroin, selling crack, powder, just everything. Okay, and were other people out there selling drugs too, besides you? Yes, a lot of people. A lot of photographs that I just showed you, were some of those people selling drugs too? All of them. What types of drugs were they selling? Crack cocaine, weed, and heroin. What's the drug that was kind of the dominant drug in that area? Cocaine. Now, did you always get crack from George? Yes. Would you ever buy powder? I did it one time, but I don't, because I always sell crack. That's all I sell because I don't know how to cook it up and stuff. So if I buy from them, they got to give it to me hard or go cook it before they give it to me. Okay, and when you say give it to you hard, does that mean crack cocaine? Yeah, crack cocaine. They have to rock it up. So do you know who George was getting his drugs from? Telly Hankton. Okay, the other people that you said that we saw the photographs of, all of them are dealing drugs. Do you know who they were getting their drugs from? He supply all of them. He sell all of them. You say he. Who do you mean? Telly Hankton. Okay. How do you know that? Multiple times, like, well, the way they had it set up that whenever he come around there, he come bring the bag of cocaine, give it to Nakia. Nakia would take it and go put it in the yard. And it's like, I don't know how to really explain it. You got people walking up the street all day. So whenever he come out with the drugs, they come from everywhere. They come get their drugs, and go back. When you say when he comes with the drugs, are you talking about Telly? Telly Hankton, yeah. Then when you say people come from all over, are you talking about crack users? No, dealers. Okay, people like who are looking to buy drugs, yeah. People looking to buy, they pull up in cars, and multiple people. Would Telly sell directly to crack users on the street? No. Nakia, Dump, Terrell, everybody else like me. I'm selling crack, like breaking it down, selling it and stuff like that. All right. What kind of quantities was Telly distributing to people? I bought like quarter keys from him before, half a key, 2 1/4. He ain't selling nothing under an ounce. Nothing under an ounce? Nothing under an ounce. Now, we showed some pictures up there with Pluck. Yes, Brian Broussard. Who was he friends with when he was out there? Friends with? Yeah. Well, we all grew up together, so everybody was like a big family, like homeboys or whatever around there on the street. Okay. Was he friends with Derek Smothers and Terrell Smothers? Well, they was his big homie. We call it big homie, like when an older guy take a liking to you. They look out for you, bring you home always, like treat you like a little brother or whatever. Okay, so who was who in that relationship? Well, Pluck was like a little brother to Dump and Terrell back then, before he went to jail or whatever. Pluck was hustling with them. Would they look out for him? Yes, buy him clothes, get him drugs or whatever, make sure he's straight or whatever. Because we were young, going to school, so these dudes are older. You know what I'm saying? So we was under them, and we go around, they make sure we go inside certain times of the night. But when we back out on the street, we out there and they making sure nobody mess with us because, they were up selling drugs. You said some of those dudes were older. Who were the older ones? Nakia, Dump, Terrell, Telly. You had Ennis, Anthony Commodore. You had Beezer, Buki. Was Buki Arthur Stewart? Yeah, Arthur Stewart. That's Journey's big brother. A lot of guys who used to be out there, but they ain't on trial right now. But a lot of older dudes was out there. But me, Pluck, Dew, and Journey, we was the youngest ones around there. How much younger would you say you were about from, say, Telly? Besides Telly? Say from Telly. He's about 10 years older than me. Okay. Did you have an uncle who was out there too? Or I'm not sure what his relationship is. Harold Jones? That's my big cousin. Big cousin? Yeah. Him and Telly, they growed up together. So he was getting drugs from Telly and George too. Okay. And on one of your convictions that you are serving a life sentence on? That's my co-defendant, yeah. Okay. And who was he getting the supply from? From George and Telly?